It's late at night. You walk into the kitchen, you flip on the light, and in that split second, a dark brown shadow, hugging the wall, moves faster than you can react. It vanishes into a crack beneath the cabinet. Your scalp tightens. Your heart skips a beat. And almost instantly, one thought fires off in your brain. Why can't this thing just disappear from the planet? Let's actually run with that. Let's say you get your wish. You wake up tomorrow morning. You snap your fingers, and every single cockroach on Earth, gone. No more late-night jumps. No more kitchen ambushes. A clean kitchen, finally. One you never have to fear again. Sounds perfect, right? Not so fast. Hold that thought for a second. That snap didn't just wipe out the few intruders in your kitchen, it just erased an entire family. Thousands of species, hundreds of millions of years old. So, here's a question worth asking first. Does the thing you hate actually represent the whole family? What you hate probably isn't cockroaches. It's a tiny fraction of them. The small group that broke the rules and pushed into human homes. When you picture a cockroach, you picture it crawling near trash cans, leftover food, sewer grates, and yes, the species that contaminate food, spread disease, and trigger allergies deserve to be controlled. No argument there. But here's a number that might change how you see the entire cockroach family. There are over 4,000 known species of cockroach worldwide. 4,000. And the ones you actually recognize as household pests, German cockroaches, American cockroaches, make up less than 1% of that number. So where's the other 99% hiding? Deep in old-growth forests far from any city, in dark caves, inside rotting logs, buried under thick layers of fallen leaves. Their bodies look nothing alike. Some even shimmer with a metallic sheen, colors you'd never associate with the word cockroach. They live quiet, law-abiding lives from the day they hatch to the day they die. They rarely go near a human home, let alone your kitchen. Almost everything we hate about cockroaches comes from a tiny minority that crossed a line. Most of the family stays in the forest, doing a job that's critical and almost completely invisible. They process nature's dead matter. Every day leaves fall, trees topple. If none of that gets broken down, the forest would eventually bury itself under its own debris. Wild cockroaches are the forest's cleanup crew. It's shredder. They chew through fallen leaves and rotting wood, breaking it into smaller pieces. Once it's physically broken down, bacteria and fungi can step in and finish the job. And here's the key part. What cockroaches leave behind, their waste, is rich in nitrogen. It goes back into the soil. It feeds the next generation of plants. Nature has a strange sense of humor. What looks disgusting through human eyes turns out to be one of the most essential links in the entire nutrient cycle. But the cockroach's job isn't finished yet. It's still waiting for its turn in the food chain. To a frog, a lizard, a spider, that cockroach looks like a crunchy, high-protein snack. Walking bacon, basically. Inside the ecosystem, cockroaches play a critical role. Energy converter. They eat organic matter that most other animals can't even digest. They extract the nutrients, store the energy, and turn it into their own plump, protein-packed little bodies. Then frogs, lizards, spiders, even small mammals and birds eat them as a staple food day after day, generation after generation. And just like that, a clear energy path forms. Fallen leaves and rotting wood flow into cockroaches, and cockroaches flow into predators. So if that link, the one connecting nature's leftovers to its predators, vanished overnight with your snap, who would feel it first? And who would be left cleaning up the mess? Let's go back to that wish. On day one without cockroaches, the world might actually look better. At least in your kitchen, you could finally walk around barefoot and drink a glass of water without flinching. But that's only the human side of the celebration. Every spider, lizard, and bird that used to rely on cockroaches suddenly finds its food supply wiped out overnight. To survive, they have no choice but to hunt something else. Beetles, caterpillars, even pollinators that actually help us grow food. The predation pressure that used to be spread out across the ecosystem gets shifted, concentrated, dumped onto species that were never built to absorb it. Meanwhile, the leaf litter cleanup job that cockroaches use to handle falls entirely on termites, earthworms, and fungi. That's a much smaller workforce, suddenly covering a much bigger job. If they can't keep up, dead leaves start piling up faster than they can break down. And the nutrients flowing back into the soil, that slows down too. Plants that depend on that cycle start to feel it. The world won't collapse the moment cockroaches disappear. They're not the only gear keeping the planet running. But rip out a part that's been turning for hundreds of millions of years, and both the food chain and the decomposition system have to scramble to find a new balance. And if cockroaches really did vanish completely, humans wouldn't just lose an irreplaceable ecological player. We'd also lose something scientists are working hard to copy: their body structure. Picture an earthquake. Buildings have collapsed. All that's left are narrow, jagged gaps buried inside the rubble. In an environment that extreme, what kind of body can still push forward, still keep moving? The answer is the exact thing you can't stand: the cockroach. It doesn't just sprint through obstacles at high speed. It can flatten its own body and keep moving fast through gaps a fraction of its height. Its exoskeleton can withstand pressure hundreds of times its own body weight and walk away unharmed. That unsettling survival ability is exactly what's inspiring today's search and rescue robots. Scientists are studying its body structure, how its exoskeleton folds, the logic behind its six-legged movement, hoping to build machines that can crawl through collapsed buildings and underground pipes to search for survivors. This might be one of the most dramatic contradictions in human history. In our kitchens, day after day, we're developing the most lethal chemical weapons we can find just to keep cockroaches out. And in high-end research labs, on the very same day, scientists are studying exactly why cockroaches are so hard to stop, mapping their joints, testing their limits, trying to steal that survival power for ourselves. But recognizing a cockroach's ecological and scientific value doesn't mean you should let it live in your kitchen. Of course not. Deciding whether to act only takes answering 3 questions. First, where did you see it? Outdoors, it belongs to nature and it can stay there. Once it's inside your home, though, deal with it. Second, is it a repeat visitor? One roach might have wandered in by accident through a gap under the door or an open window. But if you keep seeing them week after week, that's a sign your home has become a breeding ground. Time to take it seriously. Third, what actually needs fixing? Treat the cause, not just the symptom. Clear standing water and food scraps. Seal cracks around walls and pipes. Cut off their hiding spots. And if the problem's serious, don't wait. Call in a professional exterminator. Protecting biodiversity doesn't mean turning your kitchen into a breeding ground for pests. Controlling the roaches that invade your home and respecting the value of wild roaches were never in conflict. Next time you spot one in your kitchen, go ahead. Deal with it without hesitation. But once it's gone, I want you to remember something. That intruder on your kitchen floor doesn't speak for its entire family. The ancient, sprawling one still living quietly in rainforests and pitch-black caves, chewing through rotten wood and fallen leaves, exactly the way it has for hundreds of millions of years. If cockroaches really did disappear, the world wouldn't collapse overnight, but it also wouldn't just become cleaner, the way you might imagine. Nature would lose one of its most dedicated cleanup workers. The food chain would lose a critical building block, and humanity would lose an irreplaceable teacher in biomimetics. What deserves to be controlled is the behavior of invading a home, not an entire family that's existed for hundreds of millions of years, sentenced to extinction over the actions of a few that crossed a line. And if cockroaches, somewhere along their long evolutionary path, had never chosen to walk into human kitchens, if they'd simply stayed in the forest, quiet, unseen, like butterflies or beetles, would we still hate them the way we do today?